Let's turn to Australia now. And just like India, Australia too is observing a national holiday today. 26th of January is called Australia Day, the official national day for the country. It should be an occasion that unites the country. But every year, the deep divisions within Australia come to light on this day. There are protests on the streets because the Indigenous community believes Australia is celebrating an invasion. Why is Australia Day so controversial? Our next report has the answers.
Australia Day is supposed to unite the country, but every year this day only exposes the divisions within Australia. These protests are proof. Here's the backstory. On the 26th of January 1788, the first British settlers arrived in Australia. They would set up a colony that would become Sydney. For some in Australia, this is reason to celebrate. But one Indigenous community considers 26th January as a black day. They call it the anniversary of an invasion, one that led to the massacres of the Aboriginal people, and injustice that continues even today.
Australia Day is not the day to celebrate. Represents a day of mourning for Aboriginal people, and I don't think that it's right that we celebrate Australia Day on January 26th.
Many Indigenous Australians claim their ancestors lived on the continent 50,000 years ago. Every year they take to the streets to protest Australia Day. Today was no different. Major cities of Australia witnessed a protest rally. In the capital city of Canberra, protesters marched towards the Parliament House. They said the public holiday should be abolished.
About being here is firstly to show support for our Indigenous people who haven't been shown much support for our institutions. And on this particular day, it's a terrible day to be naming as Australia Day. It's not appropriate. We need to change the date. We need to be more supportive and more accepting and more responsible for the way we've treated our Indigenous peoples for so long.
In Sydney too, protesters raised the same demand. In Melbourne, this statue was at the receiving end of public anger. It was defaced with red paint and a demand to abolish Australia Day. This statue of British naval officer James Cook. He made the first recorded European contact with Australia's east coast in 1770. 8 years after contact, the British had arrived in Sydney. The date for Australia Day has always been contentious. However, the protesters remain in minority. A new poll says just 35% of Australians want the date to be considered as Invasion Day. But the anger in the Indigenous community cannot be ignored. It looks like Australia is still struggling with its colonial past. Bureau Report, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.